Catherine II in 22 minutes. Welcome to a journey through history with an extraordinary twist. Today, we're unraveling the captivating saga of Catherine the Great, a ruler whose story reads like an epic novel filled with intrigue, passion, and power. Imagine a world where a young German princess transforms into Russia's most formidable empress, where palace coups, romantic liaisons, and grand battles shape the fate of nations. From the glittering courts of St. Petersburg to the battlefields against the Ottomans, from secret plots to grand architectural marvels like the Hermitage Museum, every moment of Catherine's life was a play of power and brilliance. Did she really plot against her own husband? How did her love affairs influence the politics of an empire? And what about those outrageous myths surrounding her death? Stay tuned as we delve deep into the life of a woman who was not just a monarch, but a legend. If you're ready to uncover the truth behind one of history's most fascinating figures, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe for more amazing stories, and drop a comment with your thoughts. Trust me, you don't want to miss what's coming up next on our channel. Catherine the Great, born Sophie of Anhalt-Zerbst on May 2, 1729, in Stettin, Prussian Pomerania, now part of Poland. Catherine's lineage was notable, with her mother Joanna Elizabeth being the daughter of Christian August of Holstein-Gottorp and Princess Frederica Amalia of Denmark, and her father, Christian August, a distinguished military commander in Prussia, later honored as a Knight of the Order of the Black Eagle. Despite their noble status, Catherine's family was not wealthy, setting the stage for her extraordinary rise to power in Russia, heavily influenced by her mother and family connections. A strategic marriage alliance was sought with her second cousin, Peter of Holstein-Gottorp, who was in line to succeed Empress Elizabeth of Russia. Empress Elizabeth, known for her relationships with commoners and for continuing the modernization of Russia started by Peter the Great, chose her nephew, Charles Peter Ulrich of Schleswig-Holstein-Gottorp, as her successor, considering he was the only surviving child of her elder sister, Anna. Catherine's journey intersected with the tumultuous history of Russia, marked by the rapid succession of rulers following Peter the Great's death in 1725. This period saw rulers like Catherine I, Peter II, Anna, and eventually Elizabeth, who deposed Ivan VI. Elizabeth's reign introduced the concept of enlightened absolutism, inspired by Frederick the Great of Prussia, blending absolute monarchy with Enlightenment philosophies. The Enlightenment era, with its emphasis on reason, individualism, and scientific inquiry, challenged traditional authorities, including the Church and absolute monarchies, leading to significant social and political changes. Enlightened monarchs like Frederick the Great and Catherine the Great embraced these ideas, promoting education, religious tolerance, freedom of speech, and private property rights, aligning themselves with what came to be known as benevolent despotism. Catherine's marriage to Peter played a pivotal role in her ascendancy to power. This alliance was supported by key figures like Frederick the Great and Jean-Armand de Lestock, aiming to strengthen the Prussian-Russian bond against Austria. However, Elizabeth's chancellor, Alexei Bestujev, opposed these plans, favoring a pro-Austrian stance. The dramatic life of Catherine the Great and her husband Peter III unfolds like a tale of political intrigue, personal vendettas, and strategic alliances. Their story begins when Catherine, then known as Sophie of Anhalt-Zerbst, first met Peter, Duke of Holstein-Gottorp, at a young age. This encounter, far from being a romantic fairy tale, was marked by Catherine's initial disapproval of Peter due to his unattractive complexion, drinking habits, and obsession with toy soldiers. In 1742, Peter moved to Russia, appointed by his aunt, Empress Elizabeth, as the King of Finland, a title he held briefly after Russia's victory in the Russo-Swedish War. Catherine, along with her mother, followed him to Russia in 1744, where she quickly adapted to Russian customs, learned the language, and endeared herself to Empress Elizabeth. However, her life in Russia began with a significant challenge as she battled and recovered from a severe case of pleurisy. Despite her parents' reservations, Catherine embraced the Russian Orthodox Church and was renamed Ekaterina, or Catherine. Her marriage to Peter in 1745 was not a happy union. They shared mutual disdain and led separate lives within the palace, even as rumors of their respective infidelities circulated. The couple had at least one child together, the future Emperor Paul Bermudant, but their relationship deteriorated further over time, marred by suspicion and hatred. Peter's ascension to the Russian throne following Empress Elizabeth's death was marked by unpopular decisions, such as his support for Frederick the Great of Prussia during the 7 Years' War. This decision, which saw Russia withdraw support from Austria and aid Prussia, significantly altered the power dynamics in Europe, leading to Prussia's emergence as a major power following the Treaty of Hubertusburg in 1763. Peter's plans to extend Russian influence over Schleswig and his alignment with Prussia alienated the Russian nobility and court, setting the stage for a dramatic shift in power. As Peter became increasingly unpopular, Catherine's own position and influence grew, paving the way for a significant political upheaval in Russia. After her husband, Peter III, ascended to the throne, Catherine, aware of his unpopularity and her own growing influence, began conspiring with his Russian opponents. Her opportunity arose when Peter left St. Petersburg, allowing her to rally support from key military regiments. Catherine's bold move to the Izmailovsky Regiment headquarters, where she successfully persuaded the soldiers to support her, was a pivotal moment. She gained further backing at the Semenovsky barracks, where an Orthodox clergyman proclaimed her the sole empress. With the Russian state and church's support, Catherine seized power, leading to Peter's capture and eventual mysterious death, rumored to be at the hands of Grigory Orlov, brother of Catherine's lover. Catherine's rule was not without challenges. She faced a plot in 1764 to free the imprisoned Ivan VI and rumors of coups to replace her with her son Paul. However, her authority remained largely unchallenged after Peter's death. Her coronation in 1762 was a lavish affair, marked by the creation of the opulent Russian imperial crown, symbolizing her authority and the empire's grandeur. Catherine's reign saw efforts to modernize and strengthen Russia, but her approach to serfdom was cautious. While she granted serfs the right to complain against landlords, her primary goal was to avoid dealing with these complaints herself. Her policies often favored the nobility, exacerbating tensions and leading to significant unrest, notably Pugachev's Rebellion, a large-scale peasant uprising that was eventually suppressed. Catherine's economic strategy recognized the limitations of Russia's reliance on unskilled serf labor. To enhance agricultural productivity and modernize the economy, she encouraged immigration of skilled foreign workers, particularly German farmers, to cultivate the Volga River basin. This initiative played a significant role in transforming the region into an agricultural hub and diversifying Russia's economy. Additionally, Catherine introduced paper money and established banks to overcome the limitations of metal currency and stabilize the economy. These measures contributed to Russia's growth and prosperity, reflecting Catherine's commitment to economic development and her understanding of the complex dynamics of statecraft and governance. Catherine the Great's reign was marked by political astuteness, a delicate balance of power, and a vision for a modernized Russia, making her one of the most influential and formidable rulers in Russian history. In her pursuit to elevate Russian education to the standards of her European counterparts, Catherine established an education commission. This initiative led to the creation of institutions like the Moscow Foundling Home and the Smolny Institute, a pioneering school for girls. Her educational reforms, overseen by Ivan Betskoy, aimed to provide education to all children, irrespective of gender, and by the end of her reign, these reforms had reached a wide segment of the Russian population. However, Catherine's approach to education had its limitations and challenges. The schools she established focused on a rigorous curriculum emphasizing mathematics, science, history, and morals with a strict discipline. Noble families often resisted sending their children to state schools, objecting to the Western-style curriculum, while Catherine herself did not believe in educating the peasantry, viewing them as easier to control if left ignorant. Catherine's engagement with Enlightenment ideas was selective, largely confined to cultural and scientific domains. Her view on education reflects a utilitarian approach, prioritizing the development of a knowledgeable middle class to strengthen Russia's industrial base and her own power. In the realm of arts and literature, Catherine the Great's contributions were profound. The establishment of the Hermitage Museum in 1764, now home to an extensive art collection, is a testament to her patronage. Her correspondence with European intellectuals like Voltaire and her personal forays into writing showcased her deep involvement in the cultural sphere. Catherine's personal life, particularly after the death of her husband, was marked by a series of relationships with various courtiers. Her decision not to remarry can be interpreted as a strategic move to maintain control over state affairs, using her position to attract and influence ambitious men at court. Catherine did not maintain long-term relationships with her lovers, often ending these affairs when she lost interest or found someone more captivating. However, she was known for generously rewarding her former lovers with titles, lands, and pensions. This practice not only secured their loyalty, but also helped her maintain influence and control within her court. Grigory Potemkin stands out among her lovers, not only for his romantic involvement with Catherine, but also for his significant political role during her regime. Even after their affair ended, Potemkin remained a key advisor, particularly in military campaigns against the Ottoman Empire. The speculation about their secret marriage, although unproven, underscores the depth of their relationship. Catherine's other notable lovers included Alexander Dmitry Manonov, Peter Zavadovsky, Prince Zubov, and Grigory Orlov, with whom she had a son, Alexei. Her relationships spanned a wide range of social backgrounds, from commoners to aristocrats, all of whom were lavishly compensated. The case of Stanislaw August Poniatowski, another significant figure in Catherine's life, highlights her influence beyond Russia. After their affair, she supported his ascension to the throne of the Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth, demonstrating her ability to extend her influence through personal relationships. This move, however, stirred concerns among European leaders like Frederick the Great, who feared a possible Polish-Russian union. Catherine's indulgence in physical pleasures and luxury was well known. Her collection of erotic art and furniture and her method of vetting potential lovers through her ladies-in-waiting illustrate her unabashed embrace of her sexuality and power. The dismissal of Countess Praskovia Bruce for becoming too close to one of Catherine's lovers shows the Empress's assertive control over her personal and political spheres. Charles-François Philibert Masson's characterization of Catherine as driven by the dual passions of love for men and the love of glory aptly summarizes her complex persona. Catherine the Great skillfully balanced her roles as a sovereign and a woman, using her personal relationships to bolster her political position and secure her legacy as one of history's most powerful and intriguing monarchs. Catherine the Great's geopolitical strategies were marked by a blend of diplomacy and opportunism, particularly evident in her dealings with Poland and the Ottoman Empire. Her influence over the Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth was significant, especially after installing Stanislaw August Poniatowski as the king. Catherine's denial of marriage, claims and insistence that Poniatowski marry another woman were strategic moves to maintain control over Poland. The Commonwealth, with a government often hindered by indecision and susceptible to external influences, became increasingly vulnerable to Catherine's influence. King Frederick the Great of Prussia, known for his contempt for Slavs, especially Poles, was another key player in the region's politics. His ambitions for Eastern Prussia and tactics to undermine Poland, such as devaluing their currency, were part of a larger scheme by neighboring powers to exert influence over the Commonwealth. The first partition of Poland in 1772, a pivotal event orchestrated by Prussia, Austria, and Russia, marked the beginning of the end for the Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth. This event significantly weakened Poland while strengthening the three partitioning powers, setting a precedent for further divisions in 1793 and 1795. Catherine's expansionist ambitions then turned southwards, avoiding direct confrontation with major European powers. Her negotiation of a trade agreement with Great Britain in 1766, without entering a full military alliance, was a cautious move. Catherine was wary of elevating Britain's power and potentially alienating other European nations. This southern focus aimed to achieve what Peter the Great could not, establishing Russian dominance in the Black Sea region, particularly over the Azov area. Catherine's reluctance to engage in Western conflicts and her strategic southern orientation reveal her adept handling of international relations, balancing the need for territorial expansion with the complexities of European power dynamics. Her reign was characterized by a mix of tactical diplomacy, strategic marriages, and military campaigns, all aimed at strengthening Russia's position on the global stage. Catherine the Great's military campaigns and foreign policy were key components of her reign, reflecting her ambition to expand Russian influence and territory. The First Russo-Turkish War, 1768 to 1774, exemplifies Catherine's assertive approach to foreign conflicts. Her military achieved significant victories, most notably at the naval Battle of Chesma and the Battle of Kargul. These victories not only demonstrated Russian military prowess, but also significantly expanded Catherine's control, especially over the Black Sea and parts of southern Ukraine. Catherine's relationship with religion was pragmatic. While she converted to Russian Orthodoxy, her actions towards the church were more strategic than devout. She seized church property to finance her wars, yet protected Orthodox Christianity, possibly to maintain the loyalty of her subjects. Her approach to other religions was varied. She offered incentives for conversion to Orthodoxy, but imposed higher taxes on Jews, allowing them to live as separate entities within Russian society. The partition of Poland in 1772 significantly increased the Jewish population within Russia. Catherine's policies towards Jews were complex and by modern standards could be seen as anti-Semitic. She banned Jews from Moscow's middle classes in 1790, a decision influenced by the prevailing attitudes of her other subjects. In science, Catherine was a notable patron. Her support for the immigration of scientists like Anders Johann Lexell was part of her broader strategy to infuse Enlightenment principles into Russian society and governance. However, her attempt to incorporate these ideas through the Grand Commission in Moscow was eventually curtailed, revealing her limits in embracing democratic governance. Catherine's legal and governmental reforms, including the establishment of provinces and the Charter of Towns, were significant. These reforms aimed at balancing the influence of various social classes and modernizing the administration of the vast Russian Empire. Her military endeavors continued with the Second Russo-Turkish War, where Russia further expanded its territory by seizing Crimea. The war with Sweden, initiated by Gustav III, saw Russian victories that prevented Swedish advances. The subsequent peace treaty in 1790 marked the end of this northern conflict. Catherine's final military campaign was against Persia in the Persian expedition of 1796. This war was a response to Persia's invasion of Georgia, a Russian ally. Catherine's foreign policy and military campaigns illustrate her strategic acumen and her relentless pursuit to strengthen and expand the Russian Empire, cementing her legacy as one of the most powerful and influential rulers in Russian history. Her decision to lead the Persian expedition against Muslim invaders, entrusting the command to the young Count Valerian Zubov, was a bold move that paid off with significant territorial gains. However, the political landscape shifted dramatically following her death and the ascension of her son, Paul, to the throne, leading to changes in the fortunes of those she had favored. Catherine's growing skepticism of Enlightenment philosophies, especially after witnessing the French Revolution and its ramifications, influenced her foreign policy decisions. The enactment of the May Constitution in Poland, which threatened the traditional social order and serfdom, prompted Catherine to invade Poland and ultimately participate in its final partition in 1795, erasing the Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth from the map. Her establishment of the League of Armed Neutrality showcased her diplomatic efforts to mediate conflicts among European powers during the American Revolutionary War. This initiative was part of her broader strategy to counter British naval dominance and protect neutral shipping rights. Catherine's plans to strengthen ties with Sweden, including the proposed marriage between Gustav IV Adolf and her granddaughter Alexandra, were thwarted by religious differences. The failure of this diplomatic marriage plan was a personal disappointment for Catherine and affected her health. In her final days, Catherine planned to bypass her son Paul in the line of succession in favor of her grandson Alexander. However, this plan was never realized due to her sudden death from a stroke in 1796. The rumors surrounding her death, including the infamous and baseless story involving a horse, are examples of the sensational myths that often cloud historical figures' legacies. Catherine the Great's impact on Russia was profound. Her reign saw the introduction of Enlightenment ideas, significant administrative reforms and territorial expansions, securing her place as one of the most accomplished rulers in Russian history. Her title of the Great is a testament to her achievements and her enduring legacy, which remained influential through the Soviet era and continues to the present day. Her transformation of Russia into a formidable European power remains a pivotal chapter in the nation's history. What do you think about Catherine's controversial policies, her strategic romances, and her impact on world history? Did her achievements outweigh her faults? Could her ruthlessness be justified? There's so much to discuss, so don't forget to share your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this deep dive into history and want more fascinating tales of extraordinary figures, remember to hit that like button and subscribe to our channel. Your support inspires us to keep bringing history to life.